One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name as we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few. New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford, and a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City.
So, good morning. It seems like I just saw you guys just a few hours ago. It was. Those of you who stayed up until the wee hours of the morning saw that as we were broadcasting live as he was giving his speech. And as he was giving his speech last night, I realized we could go one of two ways with things here. We could completely freak out, which some are, or we can completely coalesce. And what I mean by coalesce is, excuse me, got my morning voice here. We need to get behind President Trump. This is the man we voted for. This is the man we watched over a number of months, almost a year and a half, run for president, go through all kinds of trials, tribulations, murder attempts, and yet he persevered. And yet we persevered. We kept going. We didn't retract. But the problem I see right now, as if you looked on X this morning and see some of the stuff that's been said by so-called conservatives, I think what we have to do is similar to what the Democrats just did. Now hear me out. I'm not talking about becoming socialist. I think we have to rip up the playbook. I think we have to distance ourselves from conservatives. I think we have to distance ourselves from normal Republicans. We have to reemerge this morning as who we are. We are not conservative Republicans of the old guard. We are not the GOPE. I don't even want to use the term GOP. I think at this point there has to be a new box. Republican, actually two new boxes. Republican, Democrat, Socialist, MAGA. I don't want to be associated with those people. They're not what we need to be. They are so worried about all their the infighting and who's going to get more clicks and likes and everything else. I just wonder how many of them are willing to save America. And so I don't want to be associated with that kind of a Republican Party. I don't want to be associated with the GOPE, and I definitely don't want to be associated with that kind of conservatism. That's over. That's done. Now this morning, you got to put on your eye black, roll up your sleeves, and realize we got a lot of work to do, and we don't have time for the namby-pambies. We don't have time to basically coddle people who've got their panties in a bunch and don't realize where they are right now. Using another sports analogy, it's game time. And I want to show you a couple things that are really going to underscore this. Because some of you guys woke up this morning and probably thought to yourselves, how in the hell did this guy win? Because he did what I just told you. Coalesce around the people who want to be with you. Ignore the people who don't. Get the people who want to be with you motivated. Stop trying to drag other people in. The tent is big. You're welcome to come in, but we're not going to go out there and drag you into it anymore. We're not going to convince you. Just like he did. Let me prove that to you right now. Mondani's mandate wasn't actually a community. It was actually a community. 1.5 New York City Muslims delivered the vote. Mondani didn't win a mandate. He won a block vote. New York City's 1.5 million Muslim residents just flexed their political muscle harder than anyone realized. Mondani got 1.35 million votes total. Do the math. Organized community turnout just rewrote the city's political playbook. This wasn't about policy. It was about representation. It was about turnout. And I'll come back to that because President Trump is talking already. Wow, he wasn't on time. He's early.
Unexpected to be a victory. It's very Democrat areas, but I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody. But we had an interesting evening, and we learned a lot. And we're going to talk about that, and I'll say a few remarks, and then after that I'll ask the press to leave. The press has been very nice to us the last couple of months. They were great to us in terms of the foreign visits with China, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, and they were actually terrific. So I want to thank you for that. I'm sure you'll get back to your normal ways soon. But we did a great job over in China. And we've done a great job in turning off wars. We stopped 8 wars. And we have 1 to go, as you probably know, and that'll get stopped also. But we've done a great job, so it's really been an honor to do it, and I did it with many of the people in this room. Every one of you I know, and every one of you I like our leaders, I like everybody. But I thought we'd have a discussion. I'm sure you'll get back to your normal ways. But we did a great job over in China. And we've done a great job in turning off wars. We stopped 8 wars. And we have 1 to go, as you probably know, and that'll get started. The shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans, and that was a big factor. And they say that I wasn't on the ballot was the biggest factor. But I don't know about that, but I was honored that they said that. And I just want to thank everybody for being here, and a very special thanks to Vice President J.D. Vance, who's doing a terrific job. J.D., thank you. As well as the Senate leadership team that has been working very hard, I will tell you, nobody's working any harder representing the American people, including Senator John Thune. John, thank you. Great job. Senator John Barrasso. John, thank you very much. Senator Tom Cotton, wherever you may be. Tom, thank you. As well as the Senate leadership team that has been working very hard, I will tell you, nobody's working any harder representing the American people, including Senator John Thune. John, thank you. Great job. Senator John Barrasso. John, thank you very much. Senator Tom Cotton, wherever you may be. Tom, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who's been very involved. Thank you, Shelley. Senator James Lankford from one of my favorite states, 77 out of 77. I always say 77 out of 77. Reagan was 56. That was the record. We got every one of them. Thank you, James. Fantastic friend of mine and an incredible advocate during the election a year ago, Tim Scott. Thank you, Tim. So as you know, we are in the midst of a disastrous Democrat-created government shutdown, and it is Democrat-created, but I don't think they're getting really the blame that they should. That's now officially the longest shutdown in American history. The Democrat radicals in the Senate have shown zero interest in reopening the government, and I don't think they'll act so soon. A lot of people disagree. I've been saying for the last 30 days. We've had 4 or 5 different points. Yes, sir, they're going to get it right now. We should have it done in a day. I've heard that about 4 times. I heard it after Kings. They said I was a king. And I heard it after Kings. I heard it after a couple of other moments in time. And I said, no, I don't believe so. And now I heard it's after the election. I don't believe so. I think they will. I think they're kamikaze pilots. I just got back from Japan. I talked about the kamikaze pilots. I think these guys are kamikaze. They'll take down the country if they have to. So I don't think so. Millions of Americans are going to be without SNAP benefits. And I will say about SNAP benefits, so when I was president, we had $7 billion worth, and now they have many times that, because these benefits were given to anybody that asked, and they're up to, I hear, just many times, $47 billion. So it wasn't the purpose of SNAP. It was for people that really had problems, down and out, people that really had problems. But during Biden, they gave it to anybody that wanted it. I think it's something you have to talk about because the numbers are incredible. But countless public servants are now not being paid, and the air traffic control system is under increasing strain. We must get the government back open soon, and really immediately. We have to get it up. We have the hottest economy we've ever had.
But countless
And
public
it's affecting
servants
the
are
stock
now
market now a little
not
bit.
being paid, and the air
But the stock
traffic control
market, as
system
of
is
Friday,
under increasing
has hit
strain.
many record highs.
We must get the
during
government back open
last
soon,
9
and
months.
many.
Really immediately. We have to get it up. We have the
again,
hottest
this is just the
economy
beginning,
we've ever
because
had.
when these plants that are
And
being
it's
built
affecting
right
the
now
stock
start
market
opening
now
up a little bit.
We've never had
But the
anything
stock
like
market,
this.
as
It's a
of
boom.
Friday,
There's a construction boom
has hit
right now.
many
but that's going to be
record
bigger
highs
than that during the
It's going to be an economic
last 9
boom
months.
as many-
As soon as they open up,
And it will, again, this is just the beginning, because
special.
when
We
these
have car
plants that are
companies
being
coming
built
in.
right now start opening
When I
up.
was in Japan,
We've never had
Toyota,
anything
Mr.
like
Toyota,
this.
I
It's a
said, "What's
boom.
your
There's a
name?"
construction
Toyota.
boom right now, but that's
I
going to
said,
be
"Oh,
bigger
you're
than
rich."
that. That's going to be an economic boom as soon as
said,
they
"How
open
much
up.
of the company do you
And
own?"
it's going to be
92.1%.
something special. We have
I said,
car
"I'm glad you
companies
said the
coming
one.
in.
He wants to be
When I was in Japan,
said, "You're a
Toyota,
rich
Mr.
guy."
Toyota, I said,
And
what's
he
your
said,
name? Toyota.
I'm investing $10 billion
I said, "Oh, you're
in the
rich."
U.S. And you know what I'm talking about.
I said, how much of the company?
Mr. Senator.
I said, how much
You
of the
introduced
company
me
do you
originally
own?
when you were the ambassador to
92.1%. I
Japan.
said, I'm glad. 92.1%. I said, I'm glad you said the one. He wants to be on. I said, you're a rich guy. And he said, I'm investing $10 billion in the U.S. And you know who I'm talking about, right? You introduced me, Mr. Senator. Started to give $1.5 trillion to people that came into the country illegally, many from prisons, many drug dealers. A lot of people came in from mental institutions. They want to give a lot of money to the people that came in illegally. We have to get them out. We can't. No country can sustain that. That's not like an attack on our country. In no country, these are not going to be productive people. These are going to be anti-productive people. And we can be all have big hearts. I have a bigger heart than anybody, but we can't let that happen. It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no legislation passed for 3.25. We have 3.25 years, so that's a long time. But when they can't do an extension, and John, I think they've done an extension every single time they've ever been asked forever. This is the first time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill. And we should do our own bills. We should get out. We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass, make our elections secure and safe, because California is a disaster. Many of the states are disasters. But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID. You go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. It's only for one reason, because they cheat. We would pass that in 15 minutes. If you don't get it, you'll never pass that. You'll never talk about mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots make it automatically corrupt. If you have mail-in ballots, automatically it's correct. Even Jimmy Carter, they had the Carter Commission after he got out of office, and he had a group of very distinguished people, Democrats and Republicans, and they passed, they recommended things take place. It was a long time ago. And they said about mail-in ballots, if there is mail-in ballots, there will definitely be corruption, because, you know, they pass through too many hands. I mean, you go in to vote, and they want your card. Even me, I went into Palm Beach. You go in to vote, they want your card, you're this, you're that. They say, I'm sorry to do this, sir, but I have to look at your identification. I said, that's all right. I love that. But, you know, you're really not going to get away with much. It was very, very professional, very good, the way it's supposed to be. But these people don't want that. They have legislation in California where it's illegal to ask somebody for voter ID. If you ask somebody for voter ID, if you're an official and you say, I'd like to see your voter ID, they can arrest you, okay? They can arrest you because they want to cheat, and they get away with it, and the Republicans let them get away with it, and we won't do that if we have the filibuster. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to see if we can sway, because I know we have a lot of, not a lot, I'd say half feel this way, maybe a little bit less than half, and it's time to have a really good talk. If I thought that they weren't going to pass the filibuster, I wouldn't even bring it up. They're going to pass it within the first hour. And if they take power, and it's more likely that they take power if we don't do it, because we're not going to be passing any legislation. They're not going to approve anything. We're going to go 3.25 years. There won't be one bill that we're going to pass. Because the easiest thing to pass is exactly right now what they won't pass. And they'll do that, and they'll wreak havoc. But let's assume they get it. They're doing it anyway, so it wouldn't matter. They're doing it anyway. And, you know, I have a case where I have great U.S. attorneys that can't be approved because of the blue slips. The blue slips, I think you should terminate blue slips, too. It's a mental termination because it's really a custom. But if you have a Democrat senator or two is bad, but it doesn't make any difference. If you have one senator writes a negative letter on some great U.S. attorney, we had it in Manhattan, Southern District. Jay Clayton, one of the most respected lawyers in the whole country, by far, one of the most respected, and couldn't get approved. The courts approved him. The courts couldn't believe it. They did it like instantly. He went to the best schools, got the best marks, top of his class. Everything was perfect. I mean, he was like led the perfect life. Went to Sullivan and Cromwell. Almost immediately became the head of Sullivan and Cromwell. You know, the most prestigious law firm, I would say, in the country, just about. Whether it's Sullivan or two or three I could name, but Sullivan, I would say, really, maybe number one. He was the head of Sullivan and Cromwell for like 20 years. He went to the SEC, was flawless. He did it for me. He was the SEC chairman. He was flawless. Then he went to Apollo, where he was the chairman of Apollo, and was flawless. Everything went good. The stock went through the roof and everything. I asked him to go to the Southern District, and he said, "I'll do what you'd like to do, sir." He's a very high-quality person. But he couldn't get approval from Schumer. Schumer didn't approve him. The best student, the best schools, everything. He's like flawless. And the courts actually said, "You're not approving Jay Clayton," right, Lindsay? You heard this. The courts actually interceded, and they approved him. But that's an unusual guy. We have other people that are really good, but people don't know how good. Top students, top colleges, and they're U.S. attorneys, and they won't be approved. They're not going to be approved. We have one in Los Angeles who's phenomenal. The senators, the Democrats are, you know, again, they're kamikazes. The Democrats are not going to approve them. Blue slips are a disaster. So the only people I can get approved are Democrats. I was told that by the Democrats. We'll only approve Democrats. I said, really, is that right? Not going to work that way. Not going to work that way with me. But the blue slips are a total disaster. I have 10 people right now that are doing a phenomenal job, and they will be out of office pretty soon. They've got another 2-3 weeks, a couple of them, and then they're going to have to leave. And it's actually a blight on their record because, you know, nobody knows why they left, but it looks like they served 8 weeks and then they had to leave. But they're not going to get the approval because the Democrat, radical left lunatic senators are saying you can't, we're not going to approve you. And if we're not going to approve you, I had actually one Republican who got 2 great letters, but it turned out that he was a rhino, but that was a nice term for him. Now, he got 2 letters of approval, and when I said 2 Democrats approved him, I had to fire him because I figured if 2 Democrats approved him, they wrote the most beautiful letters. I found out, man, this is strange. And he was no good. I fired him. He was really not much of a Republican. The recommendation of that one wasn't such a good recommendation. Someday I'll tell you who recommended him, but it wasn't exactly the best. But when I saw when I saw the 2 senators from Virginia gave him glowing marks, Tim, I said, let me see this. I read the most beautiful letters I've ever seen. I said, I called him up. I said, sorry, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. And but it's a horrible thing. Blue slips is a horrible thing because I have the right to pick judges and I have the right to pick U.S. attorneys, and this takes away the right from me. And I think we're going to go to court on it, and we'll see what happens in court. But it gives the president, it takes away the right of the president to pick people to serve on the court and to serve as U.S. attorneys, which is very important. But the biggest thing is the filibuster. We have to get the country going. We will pass legislation at levels you've never seen before, and it'll be impossible to beat us. By the way, if they do, they're going to do it anyway, and they are going to immediately do the filibuster. And when they do the filibuster, they're going to pack the court. They want at least five justices. Now I hear it's up to 5. I actually heard up to 7 and up to 9, okay? They want new judges. They want to pack the court, and they will do it in the first day, maybe the week. Maybe they'll slow it down because there's no reason to rush. But they'll do it first week. They'll vote on this. And I have friends over there that are Democrats. I'm close to a lot of people.
And I asked them about that because some people say, well, maybe they won't do that. I mean, they destroyed the career of Manchin and Sinema, and they got them out. They were the only objectors. Nobody else is going to object. They're going to do it the first day. They're going to pack the court. They're going to make D.C. a state, and they're going to make Puerto Rico a state. So now they pick up 2 states. They pick up 4 senators, okay? You think you have problems? They're going to do all of the things. They're going to pick up electoral votes. It's going to be a very, very bad situation. And it's done. It's done. As soon as they attain power. Now, if we do what I'm saying, they'll most likely never attain power because we will have passed every single thing that you can imagine that it's good and all good for the country. And there'll be no reason to. If we don't do that, people will say they're not doing much and they're in power. So the good news is we did the great, big, beautiful bill, and it's the greatest thing we could have done. And the smartest thing with John and our Speaker of the House, who's so good, Mike Johnson, we did all in one bill. If we didn't, John, it would be a problem because, we would have gotten a small piece passed. A lot of people wanted to do that. A lot of people in the room wanted to do that. They went along with me and John and everybody, and we got this thing passed. Honestly, it's 4 years' worth of goodies. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on, think of it, no tax on overtime. It's an unbelievable tax cut for the workers and for business, where business is going to create jobs, and we're creating jobs at levels that nobody's ever seen before. All these things are good. We have to be able to get the word out. If we don't get the word out, we're making a very big mistake. So I have this long, beautiful, and very boring speech. I won't bother reading it, but because we can just start talking, and I think it's very important. We have to get the country open, and the way we're going to do it this afternoon is to terminate the filibuster. And it's possible you're not going to do that, and I'm going to go by your wishes. You're very smart people. We're good friends, but I think it's a tremendous mistake, really. It would be a tragic mistake, actually. It's time. It's time. If I thought they weren't going to approve, I'd sort of be with you. It'd be fine. I'd be neutral to with you. But knowing that they're going to pass it as soon as they get any semblance of control, they'll pass it first thing, then it's like we have to do it first. And we have 2 years, and we'll end up with 2-3 years, and we'll have this country so perfect. We will have passed more legislation than any Congress and any group of senators or a group of congressmen. And we will get it through. They'll send it to us. We'll send it to them. It'll be a beautiful machine. Otherwise, we're just going to sit around and argue with these people all day long. And they're highly unrealistic, highly unrealistic. Many of them are radical left subversives, frankly. So I want to thank everybody, and we're going to talk. And I want to thank the press for treating us so really well for that foreign trip. It was we had just an amazing meeting. Don't forget, 2 months ago, it looked like the whole world was in trouble over rare earth. And that's no longer even a subject that people talk about. It was all worked out very quickly. Without tariffs, I couldn't have done it. I put a 100% tariff on China. As soon as I heard it, within 20 minutes, I put a 100% tariff on China. When President Xi, who's really a friend of mine, as much as he can be a friend, he's a tough man. He's a tough man. Smart man, actually. Very smart. The press doesn't like it when I call him very smart. They think I'm not supposed to call him smart. But he leads 1.4 billion people, without question. In fact, during the meeting, we were there. A couple of you were there, and some of you saw it. So he's here, and he's got about 6 people on each side. And every one of those people was standing like this. They were at attention. And I made a comment to one of them, and it got no response. I said, "Are you going to answer me?" I got no response. And President Xi didn't let him have any. So if there's any question, I said, I want my cabinet to behave like that. I'm demanding that I want them sitting up like that, Tim, just nice and straight. I never saw posture like that. I've never seen men so scared in their lives. They have the equivalent of a vice president. I said, "Are you going to answer my question?" And he's like, he doesn't move. I said, "What's wrong with this guy?" "I will answer all questions." Why don't you behave like that? JD doesn't behave like that. JD buds into conversations. I want to have that for at least a couple of days, okay, JD? We'll keep you long term, but a couple of days of that would be very, very nice. Okay, I want to thank you, and we'll talk a little bit. And I see they set me up with a podium. I thought I'd just be sitting, but it's probably easier. I want to thank you all very much. Thank you to the press, and you can go, and we'll speak to you later. Thank you. I'm going to Miami to make a speech today at a big group, and we have a nice big crowd, and we'll see you there. A lot of you are traveling down with me. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, you sound very frustrated by last night's elections. What are the takeaways for people in this room?
Keep moving. Thank you, press.
What happens if they don't eliminate the
press? Keep moving. Thank you, press. Please wrap. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Keep moving.
Please,
Thank
keep
you.
moving.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Keep moving.
All right, so President Trump called this meeting, obviously this breakfast, which is going to double as probably like the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones. Pretty sure if that was the public statement, that the private statement is going to be even much more stern. The problem is there are people in that room who don't want him to succeed. There are people in that room who have their own aspirations on what they think is best for them. There are probably people in that room who think that they can do a better job, that they want to be president. There's probably people in that room who are aligned with the Democrats. Talking to you, Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, and probably a few others. So what I think, and this is just purely my thought, because as I was listening to President Trump say this with a smile in front of the press, now that they're done and they have to leave, it just reminded me of the scene in The Untouchables when Al Capone, played by Robert De Niro, was walking around the room. I shall play that tonight. I will play that scene tonight so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's kind of violent. And he walks around the room and he's talking about loyalty and a team. And one of the guys on the team screwed up and he bashed his head in with a baseball bat. Well, I don't think President Trump's going to bash anybody's head in, but I think he's going to be just as stern verbally. And I also think there's one other thing that's going to happen. And this is completely my conjecture. I'm going to put it out there to you. I'm going to put it out there especially for some of you who remember that 17th letter of the alphabet. You know, years ago we were told the military is the only way. So I'm going to ask you a few questions before I give you my hypothesis. Number one, do you believe in your heart that President Trump wants America to succeed? Number two, do you believe in your heart that the military is with President Trump? Number three, do you believe in your heart that it is worth whatever it takes to save America? Well, if you believe those three things, if you believe those three things in your heart, there is evidence at this point that what he may be doing is giving these Republican senators one last chance. Pass this now. Break the filibuster, get this crap done, save America. And he'll give them a little bit of time to get their crap together. And they're being told at this point that there's not enough votes for it. Well, then what could he possibly do at that point if the Republican senators resist? And some of you guys are probably already saying it in the chat. But I'm going to tell you something right now. I just looked it up while he was talking. I hadn't looked this up, hadn't had it planned, and it just jumped out at me. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's giving them an ultimatum. And the ultimatum, they can't stop him. And so I asked a question in AI, because I didn't have time to do my own research. And that question was, how long can a president invoke the Insurrection Act? And the answer is going to shock you. So let me show it to you. And here it is. How long can a president invoke the Insurrection Act? The Insurrection Act, as currently written, does not impose a specific time limit on how long a president's invocation can last. Once the president determines that the conditions for invoking the act have been met, the authority to deploy troops domestically continues until the president decides the situation is resolved. Key points. There is no statutory limit. The law contains broad language and gives the president wide latitude in deciding when to mobilize the military and for how long. And it goes on, and you can go ahead and look at it yourself as you get the goosebumps that I got and the palpitations. I just went, whoa. We've been talking about going full Andrew Jackson for quite some time. And I don't think, because I didn't even know until I just looked, how broad the Insurrection Act is. So if Pete Hegseth in the Department of War, notice the name change. It's no longer the Department of Defense. It is the Department of War. And I'm thinking, was the name change all a part of this as well? No longer waiting for something to happen, being willing to go on the offense? I'm spitballing right now. There is no script. There is nothing on the teleprompter. I'm just seeing where we are right now. And I realize what we're up against. And I realize that this country has to survive at all costs. And we're basically at a stalemate in the government. Nobody wants to do anything. And then I went back and remember stuff I read a long time ago. The military is the only way. Has all of this, is everything we've been seeing, a prelude to the invocation of the Insurrection Act, the final act? The final thing a president can do to save the country. Remember the oath. Remember everything is said. Enemies, foreign and domestic. It didn't say in any of the oaths, just the people over there. Enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, Barry, what would happen if that were to take place? I don't know. I wasn't here the last time it was invoked. That is beyond my pay grade. But I would think life would go on. The only thing that would be affected is the governmental actions, which we have seen for the last 36 days isn't much. Everything that he would want to do and could do could still happen. It just removes the opposition. There would be no opposition, except for the ones rioting in the street and things of that nature, but they're going to riot in the street in their areas. They're not coming here. They're not coming to Tuscaloosa. They're not going to Boise. They're going to still do their crazy stuff in LA, Detroit, Cleveland, and even then, when people sat and realized, wait a second, yeah, there's some military guys here, and they're not taking any crap, and I can still do everything. I still go to work? Yep. I still go to the grocery store? Yep. The only thing that would happen would be that the government would change. It would be taken over. The president would have broad discretion to do what he wants to do. Presidential discretion. The Supreme Court ruled in 1827 that the president has the exclusive power to decide whether a situation, and notice how that's not even defined, exclusive power to decide whether a situation represents an acceptable reason to invoke the law, which extends to the duration of the deployment. I'm reading this and going, yeah, carte blanche. So if I'm him, I walk in and I go, listen, You break the filibuster, we get this done. You don't want to see what the result is if you don't get this done. And I would hope he would walk in that office with Pete Hegseth and just say, this is it, boys and ladies. Don't make me have to do what I don't want to do, but I will do to save America. So I know some of you right now, I haven't even seen in the chat, some of you are like, wait a second, Barry, you're talking endgame. That's pretty much what I've been telling you. So I just have to wonder as I start looking in the chat, are you prepared for this? Because it's 1827. We've never seen this. Anybody watching this video hasn't seen this. You haven't been around. It says, historical precedent. While some past invocations were short-lived, the lack of clear standards has meant that the duration has varied based upon the specific circumstances in presidential judgment. There is no end. There is no defining date. No, you can only do it for 30 days. Oh, only 60 days. Nope, I'm sorry. You can only do it on Mondays. Wide discretion. Proposed reforms. Legal experts and some members of Congress have suggested reforms such as imposing a time limit, but they have not been enacted into law, which means certain people in Congress over the last 100-something years have looked at this since 200 years and have said, whoa, hey, this is way too broad. We need to fix this. Not been fixed. Proclamation to disperse. The law does require the president by proclamation to immediately order the insurgents or those obstructing the enforcement of the laws to disperse and retire peacefully to their abodes. Go away within a limited time. However, this limited time refers to the period given for the insurgents to disperse, not a limit on the overall duration of the invocation. So now you got some homework. You all can start digging into all the different things that you want to find out about the Insurrection Act. And I think you're going to come to the same conclusion, and excuse my language, because you're going to come back and go, oh shit. Oh shit. The end game is here. You have a Congress that's been completely dysfunctional. You've got Republicans that are thinking, they're not in cohesion. They don't want to do certain things because they're afraid they might get used against them. Well, I would be President Trump, and I'm like, well, you realize they could do this if they win the presidency. See, only the president can invoke the Insurrection Act. So then people are thinking, okay, what do we do? What's that thing? The article, not the impeachment, the crazy one, the 25th Amendment. We'll get him out of the office that way. Too late. Well, what do you mean, Barry? How would it be too late? Because if he declares the Insurrection Act, he doesn't let you guys back in the Capitol. You can't vote. Yes, it would be dictatorial. Yes, it would be basically king-like. You cried about no kings, but you're putting somebody in a position where they can actually become a king, which is probably going to scare a lot of you. That is broad, extremely broad powers. So how do you fix that? How do you make sure that the president doesn't drop the bomb and just say, we're going to go full Andrew Jackson? Well, number one, you get away with the filibuster and you change all these laws. You don't have to worry about anything. They'll never be in power again. Number two, if you want to make sure that no Democrat ever does this, change the Insurrection Act. But now that you've killed the filibuster, you can change the Insurrection Act and say, hey, there's a new law, you can only do it for this period of time. I'll sign that. But first, you got to do this. We are in definitely uncharted territory here. And I didn't have this planned. I just while he was talking, I go, let me, I can even show you on my phone. I transferred it to the computer, but while he was talking, sorry about the echo, I went and looked it up myself. And I'm like, oh, whoa, yeah, he can do pretty much anything he wants to. He can shut down the media. You guys are not beneficial to the United States. You are a combatant. You are a domestic combatant. Let me pull your plug. Well, the First Amendment, guess what? It don't work right now because we're under the Insurrection Act. What a fantastic way to right the wrongs in this country. And it is a line that once crossed can never come back. Yes, certain rights would be impugned. Certain things could happen. What could you lose? I don't know. But what I do know, and here's the part that gets me thinking this would be a good thing, is because I see what's bubbling up. I see what's happening. And it's not good. So do you want to trust Trump to do the right thing? Or you want to trust the socialists to do the right thing? You tell me. Too much power? Crazy power. Too much power? Overturn our way of life power. There are choices we have to look at right now. And what this guy said and what he did and how he got in power last night. I understand it's one city. It's just one city in this big country of 300 million people. But, you know, Hakeem Jeffries came out and said something last night. He goes, oh, the Democrat Party is back. And I posted on X, what do you mean Democrat? There is no Democrat Party anymore. You are all socialist commies. You embrace this guy. That's the way future. So if that's the future, should we not rely on the past to fix it? Should we not say, we're going to go here and we're going to just stop all this crap right frickin' now? So I've talked enough. I want to see what you guys have to say, and then I want to go back to my video that I started, because I don't have the answer, but I'm pretty sure that's what this meant. I'm pretty sure at 11:30 last night, when he was sitting up watching this, as Mondami was saying, Trump, turn up the volume. I don't know if you guys saw that. Turn up the volume because I'm about to tell you what we're going to do to you. And as a president, I would have taken that as a threat, which perhaps he did. And then this morning, he's like, we're going to go have a little talk this morning, guys. I want your asses in here early, real early. Like, I've never covered an event ever that President Trump has done where he actually started early. I think every single one of you guys are probably thinking the same thing. That's how important it was. He couldn't stay up in the residence. I got to get down there. He's probably pacing all night, couldn't wait for 8:30. Shows up at 8:22 and says, hey, turn on the cameras. When's the last time you've seen President Trump arrive early for a speech? I haven't even seen him arrive on time for a speech. They're historically late. This one is like, I got to go talk to these people. This ain't happening. So I think for the good of the country, we need to begin thinking, are we supportive of what could possibly happen? Are you okay? Would you be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm actually good with this. I don't want to see what I saw last night happening in city after city after city. I don't want to see what the Californians did with Proposition 50 and finding a way to pull away seats just out of thin air because they want to, because they got to get Trump. You know, imagine if you saw people parked outside of your house and they were casing the joint, ready to break in, ready to take from you what's yours, ready to hurt those you love, would you not plan and say, hey, honey, run back into the closet and get that thing that fires lead? Because I think something's about to go down. Or would you see them casing your house and go, oh, I'm okay. I'm just going to go sleep right now. I think President Trump did the former. I think President Trump saw what he saw last night, has been watching all of this play out just like we have, and has said, that's it. That's it. You either do this or you don't. Personally, in the limited time that I've had to peruse these things, I'm saying go for it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Go full Andrew Jackson. I'm ready for it. Are you? And if you are, do your research. And then once you're convinced that it might be the right thing to do, then we need to start talking about it en masse. Let me see what you guys have to say, because damn. Ron Ward says it's the only way to go at this point in time for our future and our kids' future. Yep. Barry, you're so funny. You got me cracking up, bro. This morning, Prop 50 passed in California. Yep. To be honest, it all scares me. Absolutely, Linda, you are absolutely right. It is a scary proposition. But equally scary, or more scary, is what could potentially happen if we don't do something drastic. See, earlier when I was talking, I was like, we all need to coalesce. And so this is going to have to be something that, where we go one, we go all. Oh my God, I can't believe all this stuff is finally coming back. Some of you probably have no idea what the hell Barry just talked about. Where we go one, where we go all. The military is the only way. Has this been foretold? That just jumped into my head. Oh my gosh. Wow. Trump turned up the volume. Yeah, let's go. Let her rip. And don't say that just off the cuff, because things may get squirrely. But we're amongst friends. We're amongst family. We got each other. I'm pretty sure if he had to pull that ripcord, that the neighbors would become neighbors again. Hey, where you going? Hey, I'm going to go to the store. Hey, you need a ride? You see the next door neighbor's wife. Hey, let me call your husband. I'll follow you. I'll ride with you. Hey, I see somebody walking around in your yard. You know, it was so funny on Halloween when, in this neighborhood, it's gated and everything, but it was so nice. The adults put out tables in the driveway and were just hanging out while the kids went from house to house in complete safety. There was nobody going to walk in here. There's no one who's going to drive in here and cause problems. I got to run into these kids or anything. Neighbors becoming neighbors again. Remember how you grew up probably. Hey, how you doing, Mrs. Smith? Yeah, how you doing, Mr. Johnson? Everybody knew everybody. It was so bad that you used to get a whooping when you come home because other parents would say, oh, he doing it again. I seen him over there with those kids. And you walk home, your mom's like, where was you? Huh? Why you asking me? You already know. Yeah, huh? And you just got to take the whipping. Because parents looked out for each other. Many of you guys may be Jimmy Buffett fans, but you remember the coconut telegraph. Well, they had some sort of telegraph as well. Everybody looked out for everybody else. It was one big group. And it didn't matter if you were across town, the aunts would call, they'd see you. And I'm like, oh man, I was too big, so I couldn't even hide. Maybe that's what we need again. Maybe we need that coalescence, because that's what they're doing. Let the nightmare end now. Exactly. Madam Terra, get the switch. Yeah, exactly. Wield power while you can. See, I love that, because that is a president who is understanding, I'm not going to go quietly into the night. I am not just going to let this happen to America. Like I said, I could be completely wrong. Excuse me, I got an itch in my eye. I could be completely wrong, but so many thoughts are flying through right now, and I'm thinking to myself, this is what we need to do. Jackie Scott, yes sir, we need that. Don't let me don't let me talk you into something. This is something you're gonna have to dwell and pray on. You're gonna have to go do some research and go, oh yeah, God, is this? Because there's no turning back. You can't get a little bit pregnant with this. If he brings the military in and says, hey, okay, we're going to take over the government and this is what we're going to do, there is no little bit pregnant with this. It's all in. Don't make a snap decision. Don't say, Barry told us it's great, let's go. No, this is going to take some dwelling. This is going to take some research. This is going to take some prayer. Because I don't have the experience to tell you, no, this is fine. This is going to be, everything will be okay. No. But I can tell you, everything ain't okay right now. The media, everything else that's going on with these politicians, it's just one big ball of crap. Giant load of dinosaur poop. This is why he called all the brass together. I'm telling you, I'm going to play a Tonight Show. I will play that scene in The Untouchables because it reminds me completely of it. SB's hitting me up. Do you got any news? Just to let you know, future programming, he's leaving this meeting, coming down here to Miami and talking to business leaders, and we will be covering that at 1 o'clock. So let me just continue to get out of here. I don't think the Democrats thought the president would go this far, but I didn't know. This is different. It's completely different than what we're used to seeing. So let me continue so you guys can go about your day and get your breakfast. I wanted to show you, as I was showing you, and I was talking about coalescing. And I was telling you guys, we need to do what they did. And I was showing you this here, and it was posted. The Madami mandate was actually a community. 1.5 million New York Muslims delivered the vote. This wasn't about policy, it was about representation. Muslims in New York just proved they are a kingmaker in American politics. And so look at the numbers here. Zorhan got 1.1 million votes, 50%. Andrew Cuomo got 854, 146 for a total of 2 million. They took control. They had a mission. And in that mission, they realized we don't need a whole lot. We just need enough to win. And they planned it. Republicans don't do that. That's why I don't want to be associated with Republicans. MAGA, we need to coalesce and get strong together. And I'm not going to show you this to scare you. I want to show this to you so you understand what we're up against. New York City Mayor just quoted Jawaharlal Nehru, the socialist who crushed Hindus and empowered jihadis. He didn't quote Washington. He didn't quote Jefferson or Lincoln. He didn't. You guys who were here last night, he didn't quote anything in regards to American history. Not one word about American history. I'm not going to go through all of that because people here may not like me talking about it. But from Nehru's India to Mandami's New York, same playbook. Demonize the majority, reward those kind of minorities, and silence faith, family, and freedom. America, pay attention. Nehru destroyed India's soul in the name of progress. Mandami is promising to do the same. Promising. He did. He said it yesterday. Absolutely. In case you guys didn't hear it, maybe I should. Can I download this and play it real quick? Hold on. Let me put this in here so you guys can see this.
Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. A moment comes but rarely in history when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. Tonight we have stepped out from the old into the new. So let us speak now with clarity and conviction that cannot be misunderstood about what this new age will deliver and for whom. This will be an age where New Yorkers expect from their leaders a bold vision of what we will achieve, rather than a list of excuses for what we are too timid to attempt.
Just so you know what's coming, what he's absolutely what is coming. Let's see, what else did I want to show you? Last night he was gone. I mean, he couldn't get on stage until late because his banner, or rather his monitor, the big screen, got hacked. And this was what was shown on the big screen. It's funny. The White House actually posted that this morning. So as we begin to look to what we need to do to save America, I want to show you something now that is going to kind of like make you go, seriously? Just imagine what you hear right now is from 2016. 9 years later, this exact interview, with a couple names changed here or there, would be exactly the same. I mean, you wouldn't have to change anything. That's how eerie this was to me. So I want to play it for you. I messed up my sequence, so let me hold on. Let me get it there for you. 1 second. Okay, listen to this and tell me, how eerie does this sound?
Like you and I are as repulsed as you and I are by this behavior that they are engaging in, the demands they are making on decent, God-fearing, America-loving people. We are not the problem.
Rush, speaking from the grave, spitting truths in 2025 that he said in 2016. It is, I mean, 27. It is amazing when I heard this cut.
And yet we are portrayed as the problem. We're the enemy to these people. It's really scary. What happens if we lose? Go back and look. If we lose in 2016, if they get the House, folks, I'm just going to tell you, whatever Trump wants to do is going to stop. It's going to be paralyzed. It's going to be nothing but, in every House committee that's relevant, inspections, investigations, subpoenas. They're going to go back and try to get Kavanaugh thrown out. It's going to be nothing but 2 years of get even with Trump for having the audacity to win.
I get goosey bumps when I'm listening to this and going, oh my gosh, that's what's going to happen if they get back in power. Trump knows it. You know it. The Republicans know it. It should be a no-brainer to break the filibuster. Everybody knows this is what they're going to do. And Rush Limbaugh speaking from the grave here.
And the business of the nation is going to be brought to a screeching halt. In the meantime, they're going to try to get rid of the tax cuts. They're not going to succeed at any of this because the Senate is still going to be in the hands of... I still think Trump, that's in whom I have, in terms of the politics of this, I still have implicit trust.
So that's a question you have to answer. Do you have, at this point, implicit trust in President Trump? Given what I just told you about the Insurrection Act, do you have implicit trust in President Trump? If you do, as you read up about the Insurrection Act, let that be your guide. Like, I trust that he's going to do the right thing. Or do you trust the Republicans? Or do you trust the socialists? You only got a couple different choices here. So at this point, you got to pick which horse you want to be on. You want to pick on the possibility of breaking the filibuster and maybe doing the Insurrection Act, or you're hoping that the Republicans can continue just lollygagging around and doing nothing? Remember, not one single of his executive orders have been codified. They will go away like that. They mean absolutely nothing if there's a new president.
Trump knows what he's doing. This is the key. Didn't want. America doesn't deserve that. Yeah. America's so oppressive, so mean to minorities. So America doesn't deserve superpower status. This is why I wanted Obama to fail. In his view, and the Alinsky view, and the American left's view, America is flawed. America is the problem in the world. America doesn't deserve its wealth.
The apologies.
Right.
But economically.
All right. So he dropped a lot of stuff there. I talked to you. I got to do a show on Alinsky. Saul Alinsky, he just mentioned. If you haven't been doing your research on who Saul Alinsky is and what he is all about, that's the guiding force over all of these people, including the Marxist stuff. Because that was basically the playbook on how to do what they're doing right now. Yeah, his ideology is Marxism. His ideology is communism. But how do you do it? How can we get there? Well, we got to use the Alinsky playbook. Even Hillary Clinton talked about Saul Alinsky. And somehow that never gets discussed. People don't talk about the Alinsky rules for radicals. They did it. They ran it like it was a manual. An absolute manual. Do you realize, right, one of the things that was trending this morning was the 19th Amendment. People are like, we got to get rid of these white liberal women are crazy. 80%. Mondami got 80% of the young white liberal vote. 80%. 80% of people who are basically voting for their own demise. They think, oh great, I'll get to have baby removal. Oh, he's young, he's cute. What in the hell are you thinking? These people, I guess they don't look at the news. They don't see what's happened in Sweden and over in other countries. They don't see what's going on in Dearborn. But yeah, oh my Tommy, it's fantastic. With my low-cut shirt that I'll never be able to wear and after they do whatever they do with me.
13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty.
Okay, that's good. That's mean more people voting Democrat, more people depending on government. They
what I say?
Want that, Sean?
They want that. Can you believe this clip? They were talking about the explosion of food stamps before it even got to Biden. They want that, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. He's telling us everything from way back 8 years ago. How do Republicans not see this? How do Republicans not turn this on and go, wait a second, everything he's saying was foretold?
You have 14 states, record low unemployment. We had lowest unemployment since '69. 1 million more jobs than people on unemployment. Right. Look at who's benefiting. African-American unemployment, lowest ever. Hispanic unemployment, Asian unemployment, women in the workplace unemployment. All of this success, you're saying, stops if they get the House.
Let me ask you a simple question. Why? You heard him just go through these statistics, the facts of the economic advancement. We've got more jobs than there are job openings.
1 million.
We got 1 million more jobs than there are openings. That hasn't happened since 2017. Who was president then? Wasn't Obama. The things you just heard Sean go through, the Democrats are angry at all of it. Why aren't they happy? Folks, we are in a roaring economy. More people than ever can get the job they want. They're getting raises. They're being bonused. We have people free to start their own businesses. The economy and every other aspect of life in America is on the upswing. And a political party and its voters are mad about it. Why? Why couldn't you be happy? Answer is very simple. If it happens as a result of individual aptitude and application instead of government making it happen, they're going to oppose it. This is the greatest threat, economic activity, economic growth, self-sufficiency, self-reliance, people learning that the old rules of working hard and applying yourself pay off, biggest threat to the American left and the Democrat Party that there could be.
Bingo. You see, these people, I don't believe, are truly Americans. I know people like, hey, Barry, that's really hyperbolic. No, they're not aspirational. They don't want people to succeed. They think that prosperity is something to be, shunned. We'll take care of you. We'll give you this little hovel. We'll give you Section 8. We'll give you some food stamps. Go ahead and have 9 babies. And then one you don't want, you can get rid of that one too. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. We're from the government. We're here to help. And everything he just said there is true today. I am so pissed off at a couple influencers for telling people that the best thing that can happen right now is a housing market implosion. I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? Instead of the mantra that's going on right now that housing's too expensive, we can't afford to buy a house. Well, how about fixing that part? Maybe that's the part you need to fix. Not that the house is too expensive, the part that you can't afford one because you're a barista or you're a major in basket weaving. If you have no marketable skills, how the hell do you expect to make any money? And if you can't make any money, you won't afford a house. I responded to some idiot yesterday, and I was telling him housing prices is merely a reflection of supply and demand. People that today don't understand that. Can I get a house on the intercoastal or on the beach in South Florida? It's going to cost you $10 million. No, you're never going to afford that. Maybe if you hit the lottery twice. However, I bet you I can find you a house somewhere outside of, I don't know, East Bum Truck, but at least it's your house. With everybody working remote nowadays, if you are marketable, you can get a house. Reason why that house is cheap, because most people don't want to live there. The demand isn't there. You don't want to live in inner city Chicago. You don't want to live in inner city Baltimore. Ergo, they give away their houses. Do you know there's places, well, there used to be, where you could buy a house for $1. $1. If you buy the house for $1 and agree to fix it up, which they'll give you the loan to fix up, and you stay there for 3 years, you agree to stay there for 3 years, they will give you the house. Because their idea is if more people move in and rejuvenate, oh no, but that would be gentrification. What? You can't have it both ways. You either gentrify the slum or you can't move to someplace you can afford. And I challenged the guy who was talking crap. I'm like, I can show anybody anywhere who has a job, that has had a job for longer than 12 months, that's the other problem, and has decent credit. I can find anybody a house anywhere that they can afford. But see, these kids today don't want that. They come down here to Fort Lauderdale or to Boca, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to live there. No, you can't. Because they were told they get a trophy. Everybody gets a trophy. Nope. You have to earn trophies. You have to earn the house on the water. Nobody has told these people for so long, you're not good enough. You see, we grew up with that all the time. There were actually cuts. Oh, nope, you didn't make the team. I didn't make the team. Nope, you're not good enough. Come back next year. Nope, you didn't get that job. Why? Hey, sorry. Come back, do something. It was okay to say you weren't good enough back then. It was okay, and it was a motivating tool to tell people you don't have what it takes. You can't say that now. It upsets people. Their fifis get hurt. Their nipples get all rough. Telling people you're not good enough is not a bad thing. It is a necessary thing. You have to be told you can't do it. Because if somebody tells you you can't do it, the first thing that should happen to you is watch me. Watch me. I'll be back. But everything you see nowadays on television, Survivor, oh, I can't believe, oh my gosh, I can't believe what happened. Oh, I miss my family. Shut up. Shut the hell up. Be a man. Be a woman. Pull on the big boy and big girl pants and let's go. This Insurrection Act stuff is not going to be easy. It ain't for the faint of heart. So you got to wonder, where are people's mindsets? Those of you who are about my age, us boomers, well, us boomers didn't cry in our oatmeal because we didn't get a trophy. We busted our butt and said next year, I'm going to get the trophy. I'm going to win. I want to win. Let me ask you a question. I got to tell you something. I play this all the time.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I play that, and I've been playing that for, a year. And then I want you to go back and look at all the Democrats and even some Republicans. They talk about winning. President Trump loves athletics. President Trump absolutely loves football. He loves baseball. He loves teams. He loves teams. Teams that come together as a group, as an entity, and learn how to win. We've taken away winning. They took the essence of winning away from these kids. And so it's easy for these younger kids to say, I can't do it. I told Ashley, I've said it before, first time she ever said I can't, I'm like, no. You can, you just may need help. You need someone to show you how to do it. You can definitely do it. And so every time I see one of these people scream and moan and bitch about the fact that they can't buy a house, it's too expensive, and oh my God, the boomers are dead, but they own 3 or 4 houses. And I think to myself, you wrote all of this instead of saying, I wish there was somebody who could show me how to buy a house. I wish there would be somebody who could show me how to win. I wish there was somebody who would give me the information so I don't have to be on food stamps. But you never see that, even from conservatives. Oh, we need to blow up the whole housing market. Huh? Are you not making any money? Are you just out there making clicks and videos and likes because it just seems fun? Or are you trying to do something to actually better your life? There are so many, and I won't go on because I'll do a radio show, a real estate show later, which I used to do. There are so many programs, and it's so funny to me because everybody knows about SNAP because, oh my God, SNAP. Everybody knows about Section 8. Everybody knows about WIC. All these programs have been, bandied about and everybody talks about it. How about the programs that help you get better? Do you know how many programs there are out there? Do you know how many FHA loans are available? Do you have any idea how many different types of programs there are? Forget mortgage brokers and banks and community savings. How many programs there are in the FHA that can help you get a loan, to get a property? Do you know what, I'm going to use a term for you. Do you know what house hacking is? What the hell is Barry talking about? How do you hack into? Go look up what house hacking is. The problem isn't that there's no ability. The problem is people don't have the education. And they don't want to learn it. They want to be given a flipping house. It's too expensive. That's a good thing. I don't want stuff that's cheap and broken down and has no ability to appreciate. Unless I planned on staying there for the rest of my life, which none of you probably did in their 30s. It's like I want to do this, then I want to get here, then I want to keep going up that ladder. So how do you start down here? Because that's where you have to start. You can't, unless your legs are long, I don't know how you overstep and get on that rung of the ladder. You can't. You got to start here. And so the thing these kids need to be focused on is, what's my first step? Don't look at that up there and go, it's too expensive. What's my first thing I need to do? Well, first thing you need is get your ass a job. Because nothing ain't happened without a job. Or start a business. Number 2, make sure your credit's decent. Start planning. I'm not talking about you have to have stellar credit. You got to have some decent credit. So once you're armed and you've got those in your quiver, you're like, I've been working for 12 months. Yeah, I got this. My credit, yeah, it's about 600, 615. I got this. I'm ready to do the first step. Well, the first step might be for you to do some house hacking. I'm saying that word again so you guys can go look it up if you don't know. By the way, you can house hack at any age. You do your house hacking. I'll give you an idea of some house hacking. You find a duplex. The duplex means there's a unit on one side, a unit on the other. Say there's 2 units. You got a 3-bedroom and 2-bath on this one and a 2-bedroom, 2-bath on this side. It's connected. And you can buy that house for X price. And your mortgage is, a couple thousand a month. I can't afford a couple thousand. That's it. That's where the hacking comes in. You rent out that side, and then you pay for the other side. So if it's $2,000 a month, and you rent it out for $1,000 on this side, and you pay $1,000, you just got a house. It's that simple. It really is. It's the knowledge. It's the ability to understand and navigate all these different programs. I'm not going to turn this into a real estate show, but I've seen too many people and Mondami and all these people saying it's affordability. We're going to have to address affordability. How do you address affordability? You can't slash real estate. It's impossible. Try it. See what happens. You can't. You know why? Because somebody is always going to want something different. I don't care if you say, listen, we're going to give all these houses here away for free. Eventually, some people are going to go, but I want that one. And as soon as they turn their head and go, I want to live over there, then all this free stuff has no bearing on what we're doing over here. Think about it. Drive through your town. And you guys all know because wherever you live, you're like, I live in a nice neighborhood. Oh, I just turned into a shit neighborhood. I don't want to be here. And neither do the people who live there. They want to be in your neighborhood, but they can't. Well, they can if they knew how. See, this all boils back to education. This is why these kids were just completely bamboozled by Mondami. They don't know any difference. They weren't taught any difference. They get mad at us as being boomers because our parents taught us. Our parents sat our asses down and said, this is what you're going to do. And this is how you're going to do it. We had the benefit, even if some of our parents were whack jobs, we still had parents who said, this is what you're going to do. When I grew up, I remember going, and yes, I went to a prep school, but it was very interesting, the dynamic that we were taught. You got to be a sophomore, and as you're walking through the halls and you're talking to people, the thought would be, what college are you looking at? You think that's happening in high schools these days? Hey, what do you want to do? We're going to guidance counseling. We're going to counsel you. So if you want to be a lawyer, here are the classes you need to take. You want to be a doctor, here are the classes you want to take. There's no kind of guidance counseling for being a barista. There's no guidance counseling for being a bartender. Those were step-ups. And these kids are doing it for careers and they want $30 an hour to flip a frickin' burger. I digress.
Kind of a country where the traditions of the founding are we going to go Marxist leftist? I mean, that's what this is about. We don't have any in common with them, Sean. I hear all these people still say we need to cross the aisle, show we can cooperate, show that we can show that government. What do we have in common?
Nothing. And he was talking about Marxist 7 or 8 years ago. I'm telling you, this was like weird. Everything he said, we don't have anything in common with these people. And they don't have anything in common with us. And they don't want to deal with us. See, that's the other problem. The Republicans want to talk. Let's see if we can, work something out. And they're like, screw you. They don't care. Rush was dead right, as usual.
Name something we have in common with any of the people acting to destroy Kavanaugh. Where is the middle ground to compromise with them on Kavanaugh? They didn't even want to allow him due process.
Zero. And no corroboration.
They wanted to destroy his life and his family, his career, his past, his future. And
it's funny, he's talking about Kavanaugh. And those of you guys remember the whole Kavanaugh thing. You had a beer in high school? You went to a kegger. As I watched that Kavanaugh trial, I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. So there were people up in bed and rolling around with this woman. No, she was a girl back then. And you were at the kegger. Said every high school person you know. Oh my God, thank God there were none of these when I went to high school and college. Okay, there was nobody walking around going, oh, and taking pictures and stuff. I bet you feel the same way. Like, thank God we missed that whole age. Yeah, we didn't even have phones that weren't connected to walls. I remember my first cell phone looked like a cinder block I was walking around with. I couldn't believe it was huge. But we didn't have these things where people were taking your picture everywhere you went. Thank God.
They tell us they are the party of compassion.
Yeah. All right, got a little bit more, then we'll break for breakfast or lunch or whatever.
I think he missed an opportunity. I think the Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech.
Immediately after his speech, there were prominent Democrats, this is Van Jones talking, who were like, what the hell did he just do? That is not the guy you saw on the campaign trail. This was a guy who was completely radical and screaming at you about what he was going to do. And it shocked some Democrats. And the reason being is, if somebody shows you who they are, believe it. He wasn't faking when he said some of those other things. He lied and go, oh yeah, I've changed my way of thinking. And as soon as he got elected, he went right back to being that guy, and it caught these idiots by surprise.
And I think that Mamdani is the one you need to hear from tonight. There are a lot of people trying to figure out, can I get on this train with him or not? Is he going to include me? Is he going to be more of a class warrior even in office? I think he missed a chance tonight to open up and bring more people into the tent. I think his tone was sharp. I think he was using the microphone in a way that he was almost yelling. And that's not the Mamdani that we've seen on TikTok and the great...
It's not the Mamdani you saw on TikTok. Those are fake, you idiots. How did you not know? He's a Marxist. He's a communist. Of course he's going to smile in your face right now with a big smiley where you can even see his eyes. It was all an act. And literally 2 minutes after he got off stage, it was like, uh-oh, that's not the Mamdani we knew. Because he was acting. Y'all fell for it. Completely bamboozled. And Van Jones, is for whatever you take from him, at least he's been involved in politics for quite some time, he got completely fooled, hoodwinked. That's not the guy I saw. Yeah, it was. You just didn't realize he was lying to you.
Interviews and stuff like that. So I felt like there's a little bit of a character switch here where the warm, open, embracing guy that's close to working people was not on stage tonight, and there was some other voice on stage.
Yeah. I love Scott. Yeah, there's some other voice on stage. Oh, you just realized that now. You just realized that the commie is more commie than you are. You're like, wait a minute, how dare he just bamboozle us like that?
Scott?
Oh. Are you saying he wasn't the unifying voice of a generation that you predicted mere moments ago? Axe, where was the man that you predicted would not slice and dice the other? Look, guys, he started his speech by quoting Eugene Debs, who ran for president of the United States 5 times as the Socialist Party of America candidate. He repeatedly attacked people in this. No, I know my socialists. I keep a close eye on them. I work here. So here's the thing. He went after everybody that he thinks is a problem. People who own things, people who have businesses. He said an interesting quote, "No problem too large for government to solve."
Or too small, important.
And so when you think of the world that way, that every problem, no matter how small or how large, is something for government to do, let me just decipher this for you. Tax increases as far as the eye can see, which means the people who need to provide jobs to the young people that you say need jobs are going to flee as quickly as they possibly can. I think this was a divisive speech, and he clearly sees the world in terms of the people who are oppressing you and the oppressed, and he said the oppressed are now in City Hall.
Yep. That clip right there summarized everything for me, because as I was watching that, I could not believe that the people on the set at CNN, and you know, a lot of people always like, Barry, why do you watch that? I watch it for that. I watch it for visceral, real reactions where people go, oh, that's not what we thought we were getting. How did you not think that's what you were getting? Did you not see any of his past videos for like years? Or did you just show up after he got a tie on and became guy in a suit? Because before then, he was telling you what he was all about. Then he would go on these shows and go, that's not me. I changed my spots. Communists don't change. They have one ideology, and it's to take over your existence.
The crime rate rises 400%. The once great city of New York becomes the one maximum security prison for the entire country. A 50-foot containment wall is erected along the New Jersey shoreline, across the Harlem River and down along the Brooklyn shoreline. It completely surrounds Manhattan Island. All bridges and waterways are mined. The United States police force, like an army, is encamped around the island. There are no guards inside the prison, only prisoners and the worlds they have made. The rules are simple. Once you go in, you don't come out. Today, a new mayor has won on a socialist platform. Defund police, government-run grocery stores, abolish old laws. So what happens inside the prison they call New York City? The tax base shrinks, services degrade, the culture shifts. The only ones left are those who can't or won't leave. Are you staying? Are you investing? Or are you planning your escape route? Because once you go in, you don't come out. Once you stay in, you might not come out intact.
He was obviously quoting the movie Escape from New York. If you haven't seen that, maybe we should show that on a movie night. Maybe tomorrow night we show Escape from New York for those of you who don't know about Snake Plissken. So much of this stuff has been foretold. None of this is new. The only thing that we could probably know at this point that might be different is the declaration or invocation of the Insurrection Act. We shall see. But I would love to have been a fly on the wall of that meeting this morning with President Trump. I think after last night, he realized, I got to act. I can't wait anymore. And so as you're traversing X or whatever your favorite social platform is, just understand right now, there are now 3 distinct political movements. There's the Republicans, actually 4, the Democrats, the Socialists, and MAGA. And they're 4 distinct movements. The Republicans, I think, are a dying breed. I do not think that the Republican Party can exist moving forward. They are too weak. They're too weak in leadership. Conservatism, as you know it, is over. The Democrat Party is basically extinct. There are no Democrats anymore. There won't be any Democrats anymore. AOC and Rashida Tlaib and PayPal and Zorhan are now what was the Democrat Party. It has been co-opted forever. They're done. They're relics. They're old. They got nothing. And then there's us, MAGA. And now we have to evolve into a serious force for good, a serious force for change, a serious force to help right America. And it's going to require you to not look back. Don't worry about what happened before. Don't worry about how, things were done. This is a whole new thing we have to take advantage of, and we don't have the roadmap. That's the problem. Not everybody, but so many conservatives think, well, back in the day when this person, we're not there anymore. Just imagine this. Imagine that we all just got dropped into Escape from New York. And when I show the movie, that might make more sense to you. But we all just got dropped in. It's 50-foot walls all over the place. Nuts over here, insane people over here, socialists and commies over here, and you got to fight your way out. In order for you to, quote, win, you're going to have to do something that you may not have been used to doing. And you're going to need people leading you who are fearless as well. They're going to have to get in there and show you, and there's going to have to be people doing triage, and there's going to have to be people coming up on the rear flank. You are now enlisted. Don't think at this point you can sit back and be a bystander or sit in the stands. Nope, that's over. That is over. They're going to make sure that you realize that you are in the fight for the survival of America. And they'll come with smiles. They'll come with big smiles. Look at AOC. And they'll lie. Oh, we would never do this to America. We wouldn't. They've already told you. So if anything, the last year has shown you, actually 2 years, everything they've done to President Trump. He has said from the beginning, it's not me, I'm just in the way. He's not going to be here forever. None of us will. But he's done in a couple years. If you want to see America survive past 2028, you better start working now. And you better start excluding some of the people who aren't working to further that direction. I don't have time anymore for the Mark Levins of the world. I don't have any time for people who are out there fighting and bickering and trying to be authoritarians in their own little fiefdom. I need people who want to acquiesce. I want people who are ready to say, you know what? Number one, I'm putting on the armor of God. And number two, I'm putting on the armor of America. And anything that doesn't coincide with what we need to do to save America, I ain't got time for. And I definitely don't have time for whiners. Nope, not at all. No, this ain't your granddaddy's America. Great. Okay, this is what happened in 2016. Now it would be 2.0 worst. Yep, the executive orders have to be codified. They have the government shut down on purpose for this. Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right, so let me just see if SV hit me up with anything else before I turn off. And I hope this fires you up. That it doesn't. He did send me something. Yeah, of course they do. Trump has to tell them to go pound sand. Let me see if I can find this. Where is this? Oh, there's a couple things. I'm gonna have Kevin Demerit on the show tomorrow, and this is kind of timely. Poland buys more gold than China, and yes, that should have you thinking. while Beijing talks multipolarity, Warsaw is quietly stacking gold bars like it's prepping for the next Cold War and currency collapse. Poland just bought nearly 67 tons of gold, more than any country on earth, outpacing China, India, and all the usual suspects. Why? Because gold is the only safe asset, as I've been telling you. Their goal, 30% of reserves in gold. They are at 24% now. Do the math. That's another 150 tons coming. Turns out Poland doesn't just fear Russia. It fears the Fed as well. That's huge. That's huge. Thanks, SB, for setting that. That's absolutely monstrous. All right, so here's the breaking news. Democrat leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries sent a letter to the president calling for a bipartisan meeting to end the GOP shutdown of the federal government and decisively tackle the Republican health care crisis. Here's the letter. Dear President Trump, we write to demand. Oh, no, that's not asking. Good luck with that. I'd throw it away after I saw that first sentence. A bipartisan meeting of legislative leaders to end the GOP shutdown of the federal government and decisively address the Republican health care crisis. Democrats stand ready to meet with you. Blah, blah, blah. Go to hell. That is merely a press piece. That is the way he worded that. You know, if somebody was serious about meeting, you would say, Dear Mr. President, good morning. I'd like to see if we have an opportunity to sit down and discuss our differences and see if we can come up with a resolution to this shutdown, period. But no, all of this was more inflammatory BS that would do nothing but just end up in a circular file or hit the delete button. We write to demand, go pound yourself. The GOP shutdown, kiss my butt. And decisively address the Republican health care crisis, eat crap. If I saw that and I'm thinking to hit the delete button, go pound sand. Oh my gosh, these people. That is a media puff piece. Either that or they got wind of what's coming. You know, because at this point, if you're on the other side, you know, I can't be the only person who looked up Insurrection Act, and I can't be the only person. I'm pretty sure they have as well. And went, wait a second. If he does this, we are totally screwed. Yeah, you are. Totally. All right. So let me see if there's super chats here, and I'll read that, and then we'll reconvene here in a few hours for the Miami speech, which I bet you he will not be on time for because he's got to fly all the way down here and everything else, but we shall see. Let me do this. Go to number 34 on the list here. Where's 34? 34. There we go. And boom, to boom. Okay. All right. Here we go. Demon of Cybertron, the words that have stuck with me through all the tough times are from Trump himself when he told us that he's going to fix it. It's going to hurt. Oh, wait a minute. That's kind of cut off there. Let me just make this a little bit smaller. All right. I am sick of, Deanne says, I am sick of these chicken poop Republicans not doing a thing while we are losing our country. Fazul, don't let these creatures get to you. Be unafraid. Absolutely. Deanne again. He knows after last night we have no choice. I really don't think we have a choice. Fazul, Dems call 47 the dictator anyway. Go ahead and do it. You wanted it. Here it comes. Kilobyte, it would be amazing if he handed out that Trump was right about everything when he meets with the Republicans. For Go from Omega Delta, we can't ignore the results last night. The victories weren't grassroots. They were stolen by electioneering and the chaos in our country. Enact the Insurrection Act. Fazul, warned after 9/11, 20 years people laughed. Now they forgot. Penny Quarter, thank you, Barry, for all you do. Thank you, Penny. Tinley, Schumer, Cheney dead. Old parties are dead. Done. They're done. Mr. Mike, I agree on all these questions. MAGA all the way with Trump all the way. If they don't destroy the filibuster, we need to go full tilt to the right. Agreed. Miranda, thank you, Barry. You're awesome. I love how you see the positive on everything. Thank you. Because I was never raised or taught to be sullen and to rest in negative. I was always told, hey, listen, You got to make your way out of this. You got to, whatever you do, you got to make the best of the situation, and not just make the best of the situation, but thrive. Keep thriving. I just turned 65, as many of you know, and people say sometimes, "Are you retiring?" I'm like, "What is retirement?" And that's a definition, that just like yesterday with needs versus excessive. What's retirement? Why would somebody retire if you're still functional? I still can do whatever I want. If I say, listen, next week Robin and I are going to the Bahamas or whatever, we can still do it. I don't have to answer to anybody. So essentially, I am retired. Retired to me means doing whatever you want to do when you want to do it. That's it. That means retired. Retired to me isn't turn off everything and don't do any more videos and don't buy any more houses and go play golf until you die. That's boring. I want to live. I want to keep doing stuff. All right, everybody. I will see you at, let's say 12:30 or right about 1 o'clock. Talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Early show. Go take a nap.